Hello everybody, it's Mahishika here. I have a legend of our time to introduce you to, who has experience over 35 years in marketing, business, training, law, in a number of ways that he has contributed to these subjects from very many countries, and he has seen how we can solve problems. So without further ado, welcome Mr. Maxwell to the show. I love to have you here. I'm really honored.
Thank you so much for the fantastic introduction. Hope I will be able to live up to what you have said about me. Okay.
Absolutely, I have no doubt. For those of you watching us, following us, if you're there, send us a comment so we know that you're there, and then we can follow your questions as we go along. Also, just to let you know, our history go back about 20 years now. We have been working on different levels for the past 20 years or so in social business level. So yes, Maxwell, tell us a little bit about you, how you see entrepreneurship.
Yeah. Now, this has spoken a lot, this subject. Now, if you talk about entrepreneurship, really, who is an entrepreneur? Entrepreneur, as Francis Walker says, a true entrepreneur is the one who is endowed with more than average capacity in the task of organizing and coordinating the various other factors of production. Right? There are so many interpretations. Peter Drucker says entrepreneur is the one who is always searching for change, respond to the change and exploits the change, exploits the opportunity. A person who innovates, person who takes risk, and add value to the society. That kind of a person is an entrepreneur. So that's the basic idea. You can give lots of descriptions, but just a basic idea is that. So he's a change agent who creates things. He's a person who is, if you say, the private sector is the growth of engine of growth, then that engine is driven by the entrepreneurs. Without entrepreneurs, a country cannot develop. They have a passion, not driven basically by money, right? Driven by passion to create something and achieve something. They work hard. I would like to say that there are two aspects as to the barriers in entrepreneurship. One is the personality issues about a person. The other one is the general environment, economic, social environment, right? So those are the two issues that we probably can put all the issues into two baskets. So when you talk about the issues as to personality stuff, most importantly, an entrepreneur is an ambitious person. High need of achievement is required in him. He's an independent person who prefers to lead, and also a self-confident. He has a lot of self-confidence that he can do things. So these have to be developed. Now we have found in our own associations with businessmen and entrepreneurs, they have this. They have in their DNA kind of thing. So they have to. They have got this. They have developed. Sometimes there could be born entrepreneurs. There could be nurtured entrepreneurs. So whatever said and done, these are very important. And also, entrepreneur is a risk taker. He calculates risk. He's not a gambler, right? He takes moderate risk. He's a planner. He can plan well. He always plans something. He may not have elaborate plans before he starts a business, but he has some plan in his mind. So what to do, what to start. Because if you don't plan, you're planning to fail. That is what management guru Peter Drucker has. It's very true. But what happens is most of the entrepreneurs, they start business. They have great ideas. So a great idea has to be converted to a feasible business. That is the issue. That is why most of the startups fail, because they have great ideas, but they don't have a proper plan. So proper planning for entrepreneur is very important. It could not be a big volume book of plan, but some kind of plan he should have. So then only he will see what should be done first, what should be prioritized, and what are the things that he should do initially. Specifically, I have seen some of the entrepreneurs, they start factories, but they have not gone into environmental aspects. And finally, the authorities come and say, close down. Or else authorities come and put so many other barriers, penalties, etc. So he will not be able to run the business. In addition, he got to be a person, energetic person. He has no time. This idea, entrepreneurs idea is burning all the way, all the time. He doesn't work for 8 hours. He doesn't work for 12 hours. He may see dreams. He may work for it. So that is how the businesses start. When I started my own businesses, right, I had work all the time. Whenever I am awake, I was in business. So these are the basic areas we need to develop within. So in any country, we have these problems. In a developed country, we still may have more issues as the education and the rest of the culture molds you, how you think. So there are some people ask whether entrepreneurship can be taught. Yes or no? Sometimes if I am to, in my personal views, if you want to teach entrepreneurship, you need to expose children early stages, not by a degree course, right? Because you need to get this entrepreneurial spirit within students at the early stages. Just like simple shops and simple campaigns in schools, the universities, then you can create. Now, so after getting into, say, probably about 20 years or 25 years, right, you are being conditioned now. So some of the risk that you take in the early days won't be taken. So you're getting conditioned. So that part is there. So that is, again, the cultural biases, cultural and educational systems sometimes really inhibit such qualities. So these are the things that I could say in general as to personality issues, barriers in entrepreneurship. Then comes the socio-economic issues of a country. Now, if you take about the developing countries, in order to run businesses, we need certain infrastructure. We need to have good roads, a constant supply of energy. Because if you start a factory specifically, and if you have intermittent power cuts, you will not be able to run that factory. So that part has to be provided by the government, that infrastructure, roads, even the IT, right? Infrastructure in internet and all sorts of things. And the issue that I find very important issue that has not been highlighted is the availability of viable projects. Now, some of the entrepreneurs may not have an idea as to a product or service, but they can take up an idea or product or service if proposed. And assume that there is an institution that writes project reports. Assume that you want to produce something, then they will say, this is the product, this is how you start, this is the infrastructure you need, this is the staff you need, these are the funds that you need, this is the process. So if that kind of project reports are available in a central point where anybody can come and read them and see, this is a fine project for me, I can start this. So the particular thing has to come from a private sector or government sector institution where they provide this. So any entrepreneur who could come over and take it up. Now I see in countries like Sri Lanka, a lot of people go abroad. They work in Middle East and they earn money. They come back to Sri Lanka and they want to start something, but they don't have a viable project. So what they do is they put that money in the bank. Bank gives them about 10% interest, whereas the inflation is going up by 15%. So in real terms, we are using money. But if they have invested in a viable project, probably they would have earned more than that. So that viable project has to come from an institution so that they could take it up and work on it. And sometimes the wrong focus by the governments, the wrong economic focus. Now, I'll give you a very good example. Now, most of the countries, developing countries, say that we need to have an export-driven economy. Why? Get more income. At the same time, we import so much of goods. So what is the trade balance? There is a trade balance between exports and imports. So the trade balance will finally decide about the exchange rate as well. So when the exchange rate, your currency devalues due to this gap, so you say, you can do two things. One is to export more or to reduce imports. So what happens is that our focus is sometimes totally wrong, because certain products that you can manufacture. Now, take for instance, very good example is Sri Lanka. Now, we used to have our own kites, where we send kites, and so many other handicraft products. We used to fabricate on our own. Mm-hmm. What is happening now is even the kite is imported from China. So some of the things that we could produce very easily is being imported. So any person who comes into the market to start up a business, he will see fantastic stuff, very well done stuff is there. So I won't be able to manufacture this. So that kind of attitude is developed. So the entrepreneurs cannot come out and take up certain easy stuff that could be produced. So there should be a focus. There should be a government kind of a priority to certain industries that we can start up. So the startups will come only if there is a market. With the globalization, if everything comes into the market, anything that you can produce, right, then what happens is, one second, you're going to lose it. So that is one part. There again, as mentioned by one of the viewers about the corruption and bribery. Now, even in order to start a business, you need to get certain things done. There is a set of approvals needed. Now, in certain developing countries, it's very difficult to get approvals, simple approvals. Simple approvals are not there. It's a long process, bureaucratic barriers. And within that cumbersome procedure, right, there is a lot of corruption taking place. So that has to be stopped. That is a big barrier for certain people. In addition, we also find the problem of finding funds for businesses. So you need to have seed capital, startup capital. The capital is not available easily. So most of the entrepreneurs, they have great ideas. They will find that finding capital for that is an issue. And most of them, if you do not have collateral, security to provide to the bank to get a loan, then you get stuck. So there should be a fund as a result solution. There should be a fund in order to develop that. So the government or any other institution should develop a fund so that people can easily get loans or easily get funding. Then certain other issues like weather and climate issues. Now we have most of the developing countries have weather issues, right? Climate change and all. We have sometimes rain for about few weeks where we couldn't do anything, right? Then so much of flooding, so much of other earthquakes, and so many things. These are some of the natural issues that we have, right? So we have exacerbated these things by human activity, right? So then again, we have an issue of political instability, ethnic strife, etc., where it really puts a barrier into doing business. Say, for instance, if you don't have peace in a country, right, then you just can't do business, right? Some properties are burned, and certain businessmen leave country. Some of the business, certain families in certain countries, they belong to certain ethnic groups. Certain ethnic groups are more onto business. So if you have issues within the country, and if you have ethnic issues within the country, most of them leave into other places. So they take their entrepreneurial spirit from this country to another country. So that is also part of the issue, even in the macro level. So in addition, Then also gender, race, caste issues are also there in some of the developing countries. Some countries I have visited, there are certain castes, they cannot go into trade. They can only manufacture, right? As you see, can you remember that when we were in India, we went to visit certain places. So they manufacture shoes, but they don't sell, right? So when I ask a question, why don't you sell? Because the manufacturing cost maybe at that time, say about 300 rupees, whereas it is sold in the market for about 500 rupees, Indian. But I found they said, no, we can't sell, we are not allowed to sell. So there are certain issues like that. There are also land issues in countries, developing countries. The finding land is an issue always. As I say, there are so many barriers now. Most of the land is controlled by the government, right? So when it comes to government, getting land for industries, getting land for certain other business activities is also an issue, right? Those are some of the things that I see as to macro level issues, and also the attitude of people. If solutions to be found to these things, I think the best thing, there are systemic changes that you need to do, not one place. The holistic changes, there are the changes to be done into many areas, specifically education. Education should nurture people who take risks, who thinks in the manner of a business person, a manner of an entrepreneur, who wants to see issues in the society and come out with solutions. So what we do in most of the countries, our education system doesn't create such people. We tend to create people just to take up jobs, right? Our system. So we need to develop education system that from the beginning they are trained to ask questions, trained to see that they could develop something on their own, they could come up with answers, then they can become entrepreneurs. So this the searching ability, doing new things is part of the entrepreneurial skill that anybody should have. So that has to be started from the beginning if you really want to nurture people to entrepreneurship. You can nurture, but there are born guys as well, right? Right. So there are two types. So that is one part. Then we should let people read about business literature, about the people who have started businesses from scratch, their biographies, how they have developed, what are the issues that they had, how they circumvented all these issues and became successful. So those stories should be read, because people like to learn through stories. We learn through stories. Say, great business philosophers or great religious leaders always gave us stories in explaining very complex concepts. So likewise, we need to have textbooks on entrepreneurs so that people understand their situations, how they started. So we need to have entrepreneur literacy within the school curriculum, if you want to say, in addition to eco-literacy, which is very important now. We are in a real unsustainable world, so we need to have eco-literacy, and also we need to have literacy on entrepreneurship. So that is my idea. So most of the entrepreneurs are leaders. So we need to develop leadership also within the school system, so that they take up risk. They're willing to take up risk. They get this kind of training in the school itself. So that's the part of developing. Then we need to develop this idea in parents as well. Most of the parents, no parent says that I am going to develop my son as an entrepreneur, right? In education, right? They always say, I want the conventional terms, I want to make my son or daughter engineer, doctor, lawyer, or an IT guy, or whatever. But they don't say that I'm going to develop my son.
So that's a developing world mentality, I think, a little bit. So that mentality, I see people. I don't know if you know Naveen Jain. He's a billionaire. coming from India, from a very normal family when he was growing up. But his sons, they all had their businesses, multi-million ones, when they were teenagers. By 15, they had it. And he was, of course, a couple of level multi-billionaire. So, he wouldn't have encouraged them to go and become a doctor or an engineer, or that mentality. It is shifting, but
it's good if it is shifting. Yes. Now, as I told you, there are certain families, business families, they just send their children to schools because they should get educated, but they don't have an idea of making them doctors or engineers. They can inherit their business, but not everybody can inherit business. But certain communities really, whether they are rich or not, their community is basically doing business. So their environment nurtures them.
Yeah.
So that is there. But in general, it's not there. In general, that is the issue. So if you say that we need a lot of entrepreneurs to develop this society, develop these countries, so we need to have that in the educational level. The early stages is very, very important.
I agree. And there's a school, actually, somewhere very close to where we live. They don't have the normal curriculum. So secondary school, from about 8-9 years old onwards, they don't have history, social studies, science, maths like we did, but they get projects. So for a year, they would be organizing a certain exhibition or a conference. So they have, project managers, they have salespeople, marketing people. It's a big project for a whole year. So developing leadership, I think that could be a way. Okay.
Yeah, that's one of the very important areas. Then what happens is we waste a lot of time in talking. Most of the people in our countries, we talk about politicians. It's a pastime now, right? Talk about ill of politicians, what they do, what their corruptions and so on, right? We watch so many TV shows, right? Nothing happens. We just talk. So we'll have to reduce that, reduce dabbling in that, and start doing something. Find out what is there and what kind of solution that you could bring, rather than just analyzing and criticizing. All the entrepreneurs see the opportunity, right? I see most of the developing countries have a lot of issues. Then you can provide so many solutions. So the opportunities are in developing countries because the issues are there. So entrepreneur comes to sort out anything, then make profits.
Exactly.
Right? Therefore, start thinking, stop talking about politics, because that is where the entrepreneur, you have to switch off your television for a few weeks and see how much of time you save, right? So that's one part. That is one of my advices to people in developing countries. It may be very true that politicians run our whole life, but still you can change. You have the power. You have to think big. As one of the finest business people in India, Mr. Dhirubhai Ambani says, think big, think fast, think ahead. Ideas are no one's monopoly. So we have put everything to the politicians. They should do everything. No, you have the right. You can create. So entrepreneurs can create. Entrepreneurs can come out with solutions and say, now we have pollution. We talk about plastic pollution. And the entrepreneurs has to come out with an idea and show them, logically show the politicians, this is how you should be doing, rather than complaining about the pollution. So that is where the entrepreneurship comes. You find the issue and you come out with solutions, then you make a business. So that is entrepreneurship. No one should give you the entrepreneurship on a plate, right? You need to create that. So that is one thing. So whatever said and done, we need to reduce corruption. So we need to reduce the excessive bureaucratic processes. So that is again within the society. So you need to fight for that. You need to talk and you need to come out with proper solutions rather than just complaining. So this is how we should do. This is how we should say, for instance, there are so many now, if you go to a country like Sri Lanka, there are so many places you need to take approvals, right? So you say, I just can't do business because I have to go to A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. So why not come out with a proposal like, let's make it one place. Let's all the approval be taken in one place. So those are the solutions that you can bring in order to sort out the issue rather than complaining about the system. So that is one area. Then in addition, if you're talking about developing products, we need to have a government or private sector consultancy units where the entrepreneurs can come and get advice, specifically about the ideas, then also about the technical issues that they have. Most of the developed countries have developed mainly because they had fantastic consultancy units. Assume that you have an issue, right? You want to manufacture a mobile phone, but you have an issue with that. So you should be able to go to a technical expertise provided by the government or whatever, or it could be private sector. So that part is very important if you really want to develop businesses and give a hand to new entrepreneurs who may have technical issues. So that is important. Again, we need to have support a fund. We need to have a fund where they don't expect a lot of collateral or security to obtain a loan. And we need to have some kind of education as to financial discipline in businesses. Most of the entrepreneurs, they may have fantastic ideas, but they may not have financial discipline. Sometimes they fail because of that. So that part has to be taken. Probably the banks just give loans, but banks have a rather more broader contribution, should have a broader contribution of training their customers as to financial discipline, so that it is a win-win solution. They would be able to recover their loans well. In addition, their customers will be able to manage their funds. What happens is banks give loans, then when the customers default, they go after them. So that should not be the case when you talk about the entrepreneurship. We are partners, both. Entrepreneurs depend on banks, banks depends on entrepreneurs, because banks cannot just have only savings. They will go bust if they don't give loans, because the loans are the things that brings in revenue. So in order to develop a big clientele, a loan base, you need to have good customers who have discipline. So that is one part that I have to highlight in this discussion. And again, we need to develop. Now, when we talk about entrepreneurship, we talk about producing goods and services. Yes, but when you talk about services, specifically, you need to understand what kind of services that you're going to develop in this country. Now, say for certain countries have God-given geography, right? That's the competitive advantage geographically. Say, for instance, a country like Sri Lanka, right? We are a fantastic country, right? We can market our country in tourism in fantastic way. But I have never seen a project report, viable project report available to start up a small tourist business, right? These are the things that you need to develop. These are things that we originally have a competitive advantage. So those areas we'll have to prioritize and develop entrepreneurs in those areas, rather than developing entrepreneurs to fight in very competitive environments in the global environment, global markets, right? Sometimes we have to fight with giants. But here you have a great platform to run. All what you have to do is fine-tune your business plan. So those things should come up so that people could take up things. We businessmen or the entrepreneurs would like to take risk, but they don't want to gamble, right? Nobody wants to gamble. So that part has to be there. So they work hard, definitely, yes. And also they should read books. They should discuss. We go into a lot of unwanted stuff. If you go to Facebook, we share so much of jokes and so many other things. But try and spend some time about reading good books, reading good ideas, right? So that you get motivational talks. There are so much. So you must get into the habit of reading good books, watching good motivational talks, etc., so that you get enriched. every day. So it's very positive rather than going into the negatives always. I have asked my students not to read the newspaper. If you take the newspaper, say, if you just take the newspaper in a developing countries, specifically I'm referring to my own country, Sri Lanka, 70% or more of news is negative on the first page. So you cannot create, right, positive people by having them to read, letting them to read in the morning 70% of bad news. So you need to get out of that. Don't read the newspaper. Read the newspaper in the night if you want to see nightmares, right? Just give it up because news is bad always. So try and read good books. Try and find ideas. Talk with people who have ideas, right? Get into a bunch of people, right, who thinks differently. You can do the same thing, right? But do it differently, then you will get a business. That's the business. Same product, but you do it differently. So it's a part of entrepreneurship. Okay.
Mhm.
Yes, up to you. I have spoken a lot.
Wow. You're giving me a lot to think about. I'm feeling quite proud of myself for a couple of things as well I'm doing. So the one thing that I took, that really, shouted at me is basically entrepreneurship is not about just having your own business. It's about thinking problems in an entrepreneurial light, whether you're working for the government, in politics, in another organization, or you have your own business, or you're thinking about your business. It's about really enriching the environment. Think about problems, looking at them in a different way. How can we solve it? And if you can do it at a profit, you have a business.
That's right. Yes. You create profit to yourself and also the society and to the others as well. So it's a value addition.
Mm-hmm.
The entrepreneur adds value to the society, adds value to the environment, and adds value to himself, and add values to the employees, the customers, right? So that is the attitude that you should have. Entrepreneurship is not a bad word. Entrepreneurship is not always associated with exploiting. It's not always associated with profit. No, there are social enterprises. So you have a social cause and you talk about it and you develop, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a very simple way. The peace in a country is a big cause. So if you can have an idea to create peace among communities or among the countries, that's a great entrepreneurship. Yeah, you bring in an idea.
Absolutely.
That is going to add value in very big way. So what I see is entrepreneur is a person who adds value and make a profit. Yes, he needs to live. So just the profit. And when you say business, we see a businessman is a person of money. No, he may have money, but he's a person of ideas. He's a person who provides solutions to the society and add value. So that has to be built, right? If we want to have a sustainable world, right? Everybody should live, not only humans, not the other animals and the natural environment as well. All that comes to play because we are one unit. Everything is connected in this cosmos.
Absolutely.
So in that form and inculcate. That is what I say. We need to have eco-literacy as well in schools and entrepreneurship literacy, so that people think differently, then we have a better world. So that should be the final broader version of entrepreneurship. Whatever they do, the modus of operandi should be different, but the final outcome should be a better world for everybody. So entrepreneurs should be able to provide answer, provide business, and provide employment. All that could be done, right? I think the issue is in your own head. The more entrepreneurs could be developed in the developing countries because they have more issues.
Yeah.
If you have a fantastic car, then you need not repair it. right? Once the car is not running, the car is having issues, you can have several mechanical shops to repair it. So you create more employment. And when you have an issue, only you think about it. So God gives you problems in order to check your capacity, right? So you have problems, you have to put your brains and come out with ideas. That is part of the entrepreneurial skill.
Yeah, absolutely. If you have a lot of problems, you have a lot of opportunity.
That's it.
And yesterday I was watching an opera show where Bill Gates was talking, and in that show at that time he had contributed $40 billion charity for health. So and Oprah thanked, is it Oprah? I think it's Oprah. She thanked him for being a billionaire because he contributed that much to the society.
That's right. No, you could do. Once you get into, once you have this idea of finding solutions, so you will find solution not only for profit, but for the general betterment of the whole society, or for that matter, the whole world, right? So these are the thinking patterns that we have to inculcate at the early stages, so they become social entrepreneurs. Right? We need that, right? Out with ideas, right? And we need to have sustainable entrepreneurs who talk about sustainability, right? Which is a very important part. Now we are saddled with this climate change and sustainability issues. So the things should change, the pattern should change, and that's the macro level issues that we need to address to provide a good platform for people to innovate and come out with new ideas, because we have so much problems all over the world. That would be, we can find answers. We have found lots of answers in the evolution. We are still having problems. We still can find answers, because we humans are the most important part in finding these answers. So human part is connected with the entrepreneurial spirit.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow, you're giving me a lot to think about, and I'm sure anybody watching us and will be following us on the replay will have a lot to think about as well. So I mean, I think it all comes down to what you can do, rather than blaming everything else around you, whether you are in a developing world, country, or developed country. Regardless of where you are, what you do, it all comes down to you as a person and how you look at things, isn't it?
I think if there is any questions from viewers, we can take it now.
Absolutely. Let's have a look. Oh wow, we have quite a bit. So we talked about this one, I think. First barrier, bribe. Second barrier, laws that change too often, keep up. A third barrier, too intrusive inspections.
Yeah, it's a very good question where everybody is having. Really, bribe, we have spoken about it. We'll have to bring down that in many ways. That's again about the attitude of people who comes into the power. Again, they should be politico entrepreneurs. Find answers to the general issues, then they will not become bribe seekers. So their focus is different now. So they come here and say, I am in power, I am the person who decides, so I should be paid before you get earned, right? So that should go out. Laws that change too often, yes, laws that change according to the requirements of the society, but when the laws are implemented, they should take into consideration the requirements of the business people. If they put so much of barriers, then we have issues. But on the other hand, businessmen or the entrepreneurs also should understand specifically the environmental laws, that are there. Sometimes they see they as barriers, but our own environment is very, very important. So therefore, if you want to start a business, it is always better to take all the precautions that you don't do any harm to the environment. There is no second word about it, because we are losing our environment, the very world that we are living. So as I say, you need to have eco-literacy at the beginning. Then you don't do something bad to the nature. So the laws are there sometimes to protect, but certain laws should be, flexible to many businesses, so that they could go on doing intrusive inspections. Again, that's part of the regulators. So the regulators also should have a flair of businessmen. They should know the mentality of a business person. So regulators, sometimes they only think about the regulation. They don't see the practical side of it. So they got to be flexible when they deal with businesses, because putting up a law and saying this is how you should do is entirely different thing than doing it. Right? I can teach people this is how you should do, but teaching is easy than doing. When you start doing in practice, you feel so many issues. So the teacher or the regulator should understand that and facilitate that process. That's a good question that you have put up. Hope I have answered that.
Great. The other question I have is, some sounds problems, but I'll go ahead. Why Sri Lanka import kites from China? It's cheaper in Sri Lanka.
Yeah, this is what I was telling you. We are now thinking, we have become lazy. When you import everything, you become lazy. You tend to get everything from some other country. Because China can manufacture kites in large scale, let's say, all over the world. So they have these big time factories and large scale economies. But we have to decide what to import, what not to import. Because if you don't stop that, we are stopping our entrepreneurs in developing a business. So that part the government should understand. So you can talk, as I said, there are systemic changes needed. Just you cannot say you should be positive and you should do this, that, you should be doing that, don't worry, take up any risk. No, that is true. But in addition, you got to have this basic stuff, policy priorities, where you could start many things. There are so much we can do. Why can't you make a simple toy? Right? We have been doing that, right? We have been doing so many things, but now we have stopped because it is just globalization comes into place and imports everything that you. That's an issue that has to be taken out down. Say, for instance, big countries like capitalist countries like USA is putting barriers for importation. They impose so much of duties on products on China. If a big country can do that, why can't a simple country like Sri Lanka, who is having issues as to exchange rate and balance of trade? So they have to get into that. Not only just talking about entrepreneurship, you have to take action.
Agree. Yeah, I mean, that is, of course, what the government can do. On the other hand, there's plenty of problems that China doesn't have a solution. So we don't have to, wait for the government to change that law or the policy. We could go and, find 100 other ideas. If you have your mind open when you're just walking down the street next day, and you come up with 1,000 ideas, and out of those 1,000, maybe one is a good idea.
Yeah, you need to develop ideas. Now, when you allow a person or a society or nation to think, when you produce things, when you start producing things, only the ideas comes in. Otherwise, that production sector or thinking pattern of your brain, maybe a section of your brain, get lazy and it doesn't work. It get rusted. So that is now the countries like China, they manufacture everything. They start thinking manufacturing again and again. right? New products. So if you start importing everything, you don't think of manufacturing something. You don't think of coming out with a good idea. So you come out with ideas of marketing only, a product imported. So that stifles the entrepreneurial mind. So you need to have producers of services and products if you have to thrive, any country to thrive. So that part cannot be done in isolation. You need to develop a conducive environment for people to think.
Yeah.
So people also should not blame the whole thing to the government and say we can't do anything. No, despite all these things, people have come out with fantastic ideas. And say, for example, you develop kites at a very low rate and a better kite than what you import from China, then you have it, right? So that part you can think, right?
Yeah.
So not just, no, the kites are being imported from China, we can't do anything. No. You come out with an idea, right? Better kite.
Yeah.
So you can name this how to make a better kite, the whole discussion.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you can have a whole online business, based on that, and you can have your marketing platform. You can teach how to do them, at your own home. People love doing that kind of thing. I can actually,
ideas, good ideas, right? Inventions and good business ideas. So that, every week people should have a tea party over a discussion.
Right? That's a good idea. I like that. In my group, I have a entrepreneur group on Facebook. Maybe that's a good idea. I can think about this.
This is what I had. This is the problem that I had within the last few days. This is how I sorted it out. This is an idea that I got it. What do you think about it? So that kind of a forum, right, should be held within, say, maybe one per month or one per week or whatever. So that again gives additional value to people who come on board on your forum.
Yeah.
Could be over the phone or over a webinar or whatever. So it gives them value addition. They would like to come to that kind of forum rather than you doing something, putting up videos or whatever. It's good. It's part of the mixture, part of the mix. So
I could do exactly like what we are doing right now, but I can have up to 500 people, maybe let's say 100 people at any time, quite nicely, and we can have a conversation, and we can have such a forum talking about ideas.
That's a good thing, because you need to get ideas of people if you really want to filter down the best.
Yeah.
Otherwise, some of the solutions provided into business or to specifically the societal issues, we have not given a chance to everybody to talk, right? We just go on to people that we think the experts, but there are experts in the normal society who may not have qualifications, right? But they have fantastic ideas. So everybody, the knowledge is within you, whether you have gone to university or otherwise, right? So you need to tap each other's. The humans are a big resource, so we need to tap each, so that give them a chance to talk and have a discussion before you get into solutions. Wow. That's a very important thing.
That's a fantastic idea, and I will do my level best to implement it.
Thank you.
Great. So further questions, let's see who we have. Brainstorming is important. It's coming as an idea. Not even kids. Vesak Kudu too. Those days we make, but everything is we import now.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. Yes, you change. We need to change that. We need to develop a better Vesak Kudu now. Fight with Chinese. In addition to lobbying the government, right? We can do this, don't import.
Yeah. The other one is Sri Lanka business don't utilize limited resource properly.
Yeah, resources. We have limited. Always, everywhere, the resources are limited. So we need to get the maximum out of it. There is no question about it. So we need to develop kind of lean production methods. There are so much being done on it. So we need to get that. There are productivity institutions, and they are here to advise and give you so much of ideas. So you need to tap them as well. Sometimes they are just there and people don't come. So we need, as I told you, we need to have an institution who can advise people where to go, what to get done, right? What are the resources? That part is very important. You must have prototypes of products now. Assume that you have a viable project. Then you keep a prototype or a sample of this product. This is what we manufacture. A simple example: we have salt around Sri Lanka, and we still import salt. Right?
Wow,
And
I didn't know that.
yeah, we can really make our own salt, and there are processes, very simple processes are there to clean salt and all. So all those things, there should be a good institution. There are institutions, but they're not very visible now, right? You have to make them visible. We need to give them a chance in the mainstream television. If television owners are doing a great service to the nation, they should allow these kind of social enterprises, these kinds of institutions to come out and have discussions, and also to have a free advertisement, so that the people would know that there are institutions like this that we can seek help. Okay. Just writing a business plan. I have been helping people to write business plans. So they charge big amounts in writing a business plan. But business plan could be written simply if we could train people on a workshop for few days workshop, right? Those things should be supplied. I know I did some work with the Agriculture Ministry, and we were, explaining how to do a business plan. So they were very happy. So these things, and also there are a lot of people like us who are willing to share our ideas for the benefit of the nation, right? We don't charge for that. We charge. So we have many avenues of earning money. So there are people who would really like to come and give a free service to the nation. So that also should be tapped.
Yeah, you're giving me a ton of ideas. I'd like to tap on that as well. Yeah, I mean, another thing is, I mean, we have some excellent people who don't live in Sri Lanka any longer, but they are the experts in their own right in very many parts of the world. So they are looking to contribute as well. Definitely.
Yeah,
And
need to be accepted and respected, and should be given certain facilities to do, right? If they are willing to come, right? They need the acceptance, right? And they would like to see that their ideas being implemented, rather than just giving them an idea, opportunity to talk, and they say, "Oh, you have a fantastic idea and everything," and have a tea or drink, then go on and forget about it. No, they don't like that. They would come and see. They would say, advise, this is how it should be. So it should be implemented if possible. Then if there are issues, then they could come back again and say, this is what we experienced by implementing this. Why don't you come out with some other answers to this? Those things could be done. The thing won't stop at once. It's sometimes the people abroad think that the solutions, this is the solution. But when you go back to the real ground, the practical situation in countries like developing countries, the things are not so easy, right? It's easy to preach, right? Practicing is done by the people in the field, on ground. So then you need to dabble in practice and see how it is. So they should also take one more step in implementing and showing it, this is how it is done, rather than saying, rather than just giving a talk or a preach. That is one thing that I have seen, right? So both ways, they should be accepted, yes, definitely yes, respected, yes, definitely yes, but they should take one more step and show this is how it is done. They should come out with tangible results of their ideas.
Yeah. Wow. Great. Well, I'm learning so much from you today. Creativity and innovation are the key for an entrepreneur. Absolutely.
Yes,
Yeah.
creativity is a very important part, because without creativity, you won't be able to create something different. So what I say is, you do things differently. So yeah, the same thing, maybe differently, right? As you have a restaurant, then you can do in you can provide you are providing food to people, right? But you could do it in differently. If you're creative enough, right, you could come out with, say, we cook a lot, uh, and we cook a lot and destroy all the nutrients in it. So come out with a program, come out with a recipe that you don't cook a lot and you don't destroy nutrients. So that's doing the same thing but differently. So that's a lot of creativity, right? So the creativity is an very, very important part in any entrepreneur or a leader. So creativity also comes in when you have given a chance to do something and you have an issue, right? When you have an issue that that easy solution is not seen, then the creativity should come into play, right? You need to come with new ideas. So again, new ideas. We have seen so much of innovations in the world, and they have found lots of answers too, right? Say, for instance, I was reading an article about how the plastic bottles pollution could be stopped, and there is an innovative product where they have seen how a fruit can keep water within the fruit. The membrane keeps water inside. Now, say for instance, you take an apple, say about 50% is water. How it is kept? So they are coming out with an idea of a kind of a membrane inside the water. So you can even eat that part, the packing part of it. So, right. So these are the creativity. Creativity comes in to play. Biomimicry.
So I don't see any more questions from the audience, Maxwell.
Okay.
Is there anything else that you like to share with anybody who's following us and watching us up until now?
Yeah. What finally matters is your mindset. You have to come out with ideas, and you should have a mindset that I will come out with a solution to an issue in the society. That solution will make me happy and make me an entrepreneur, and finally I will earn a living out of it. So that should be what. So not just because the profit or the volume of business or any other egoistic things should not come into play. Then you become a great entrepreneur, where you create something, where you develop something for the society, and you are adding value. So addition of value will create a happy and successful entrepreneur. So create, think big, think fast, right? Think ahead of others, right? Ideas are yours, right? Great thinkers are not in one particular society. All these societies have developed fantastic, great thinkers. So you could be one of them, and your ideas could be used for the betterment of the society and for yourself as well. So thank you so much for having me on your program. Hope we will continue doing some other stuff wherever it is needed. So, all the best,
Absolutely.
Maheshika. Good luck
Absolutely.
for
Thank
your.
you very much, Maxwell. I learned a lot personally myself, and I'm sure the audience is, also learned quite a lot. And I'm sure we will get a lot of questions following this recording. So I thank you once again for coming on the program and being with us today. I know you're extremely busy and you're doing quite a lot of things in Canada right now. So thank you so much for taking your time to be with us and sharing your wisdom and experience. You gave a lot for everybody to think about, and also a lot of actionable uh, items that I took away personally, and I'm sure our audience also did the same. So I wish you all the best, and let's continue this discussion, and definitely let's also come up with some tangible offers to help promote, not only in Sri Lanka, everywhere in the developing world. It's not only, it's not limited to the developing world, of course, but I want to make sure that we don't think with a barrier just because we are coming a little bit at a disadvantage. So thank you very much, Maxwell, once again.
Thank you so
And
much.
thank you very much to the audience. I can't thank you enough. You have been with us now over an hour. So I wish to speak with you all very, very soon again.
Okay. We'll meet up again. Okay. God bless.
God bless. Bye-bye. Have a good day.